Well, I guess I want to welcome everybody to the Saab and Travel Show. I'm Glenn Brooks, certified Saab. Hey, how are you? Certified Saab. I am beyond an enthusiast, by the way. It's kind of been a way of life. And for the last 12 years, I've been bringing my car to Chris Rizzon up in Dorset, Vermont. I drive up the mountain to this magical place of Vermont, and there it is, the Saab Barbershop, which we got to post the picture of. And it's a place where many Saab fanatics come from the whole region. They bring their cars, they bring their SPGs, they often bring their cars where other mechanics haven't solved the concerns. So I just want to say, without Chris, I probably wouldn't be driving a Saab, because really it's his understanding and experience. So, and I've never seen him give up on a car, by the way. I've never seen him say that's it. He usually just dives in deeper and fixes the car. I referred Chris as far as New York. So he's our co-host on-hand master Saab mechanic. Hey, you know what'd be fun is, and I'm going to do a review today. I do parts reviews on, and I sometimes give away vacations too. I'm also a journalist. I have my own national show in conjunction with driving a Saab and having a lot of fun with that. So I want to welcome our unconventional, one-of-a-kind community. And why don't you introduce yourselves? And well, let me let Chris. Chris, welcome. Why don't you say hello to people, and then we'll go around. Go ahead, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Go ahead.
As everybody knows, I'm Scott Paterson, the webmaster of SaabNet.com. And our host today, and the guy that hosts, kind of runs these chats for me, is Glenn Brooks. Glenn, you want to just mention yourself?
Yeah. Hello. Great having you on the call. I want to say that I've known Scott for probably about 24 years. We're doing the show at least 24 years. And welcome. Great hearing from you guys. Well, let's see. I don't know, probably 33 years ago, I started out with a 900, and I guess my first experience was with some. What was the Saab prior to a 900? What was that called? Sonnet? Was it a Sonnet?
The 99.
So
yeah.
The 99. I think it was a 99. So a friend of mine was running a food market, and I used to drive to the city with him in a Saab. And I never experienced anything like it. I thought, wow, this car seems indestructible. It's totally fun to drive. It doesn't look like anything else. My first car was a Volvo, but the sportiness and the unconventional style. Now, the honor of knowing Scott is the honor, really feeling like he's one of the pioneers on the internet. I think he's been online since 1988 or something really crazy. Is it 1988? Is that possible?
Fall of 86 was the first time I got on the internet.
Okay, incredible. Well, I just want to say that knowing Scott has been a real treasure, because his heart's into it. And the people that I met, this last Saab that I got, I have right now currently a 2004 95 5-speed, which I love to pieces. The master mechanic, Chris Rizzon, who I 100% recommend. If you had to drive 200, 300 miles going to Kush, it would be a good investment. He's amazing. So this guy drove me to, now what's great about SaabNet, and Chris, I don't know, let's put it this way. The people on SaabNet are so dang honest for the most part. I became friends with them. So I was friends with this guy. He bought a $100,000 Tesla. He drove it. He had a friend drive behind him, and we spent like an hour talking about this car. And that really represents the community of the unconventional type community of Saab, which still exists and lives in real time and via the amazing thing SaabNet is. So I want to acknowledge how wonderful SaabNet is. And to this day, I have the only show that I know of that's really for the people who feel like Saab to this day is still one of the most valuable investments in fun cars and all that sort of thing. So I'm happy that you're on the call. I want you, any questions you have about technical issues, please direct to Chris.
And let's I'm ready to Chris now that we're starting.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So Chris is a master Saab mechanic that I got personally recommended to. He's in Dorset, Vermont. It's a gorgeous little town. I drive up the mountain past Stratton Mountain, the sea area, and I go to Chris for all my Saab needs. And he's a great conversation. He's always playing NPR. It's totally mellow. I had a graphic artist, and I want to see if we could post this picture, draw a picture of what I call the Saab barbershop. I call it the barbershop because everybody comes, and we have conversations about Saabs. No matter if someone's driving from upstate New York with their SPG, or someone's coming with they have a convertible, or they totally stumped and they tow it to Chris. So I go there and I kind of feel like, oh my God, there's people who still revere this car, and it's Saab celebrations. Because, you know, I could be sitting there and someone could be telling a story about their son who crashed into a telephone pole and walked away from his car. And I've heard many of these stories all over the country. So it's not Saab stories, it's Saab celebrations. And to this day, by the way, what I've heard most recently from some people, that Saab is raising in value right now. That people are paying more money for Saabs, and the recognition is even though they're not making them, is still, you know, higher, and the appreciation among a niche of us is growing. My investment at some point is I want to get a mint condition 9,000 5-speed. So right now I have the 9.5. Oh, by the way, next month I'm going to have on Josh from Goldwing, who knows Chris very well, totally, and he knows Chris and Scott. We had an amazing conversation about Goldwing. Goldwing is an amazing supplier of used parts. They know the cars so well, and we had a great conversation. They're sending me some parts. They're sending me a what do I need again, Chris? I need a what is it called? The electrical part. It's a throttle body. They're sending me a used throttle body and a muffler. All right. What kind of?
I just wanted to interject that.
Yeah, please.
You're correct. You're correct, Glenn. You know, I watch the cars that come and go on the SaabNet classifieds, and I noticed that the Saabs are maintaining their values. Some models are commanding amazing prices. I've had former dealerships and sales Saab people at dealerships say online that you know, if you want to get the most for your Saab, you put it on SaabNet. That's where where Saabs command the most value. The most knowledgeable Saab people there are searching for Saabs.
100%. 100%.
The most knowledgeable people who are selling Saabs are selling them there. Also, and I just want to just say it's Chris Rizzon of Rizzon Saab. That's the name of Chris Rizzon up in Dorset, Vermont. Rizzon Saab.
Rizzon Saab. We'll give out the contact information. We can give it out now. We'll give it out at the end. We'll give out the number.
You can always find him on the Saab Network service and mechanics listings. Just go to that section in the the frequently asked questions part of the site, and he's listed under the Vermont section. So for everybody on the call, I have most people muted. I will be as we take questions, I'll unmute and mute and unmute. I try to keep the noise level from the external noise level coming over microphones at a minimum, and it it's kind of a little bit of a dance, but I hope to do it okay. So we'll work on that too.
Oh, great! Thank you, Scott.
All right, so this is Doug Ice from Salisbury, North Carolina. I figured out how to unmute and mute your phone. Start.
Sorry about that.
Can't make out a word he said.
Okay, Glenn.
There's a little bit. Oh, okay. So welcome. And each month, my plan is each month to do features. At the end of this, towards the end, I'm going to do an amazing tire review. Because I 360 twice in an SPG. I didn't land in the woods. I didn't get injured. And I said, I got to really pay attention to tires. So Chris just put on my new tires. So I'm going to be reviewing today the Cooper North Country, which are out of this world, by the way. So let's hear your questions. Introduce yourself in your car. We'd love to hear your questions for Chris or anything you want to share. Welcome.
Let me do some unmuting here.
Okay.
1 second.
All right.
So
I have a question. Can anybody hear me?
Yes. Who's this?
This is Joe from Chicago.
Hey, Joe.
Great.
Hey.
Can I start the first question if that's okay?
It's okay. Is that good, Scott?
Yep. Sounds great.
Please, go ahead.
Scott. All right, great. So I just purchased a 2006 Saab 9.3 Aero. And I flew to Cincinnati and found that it's just actually in impeccable condition. It actually won a first and second place concourse at one of the national conventions in the past. In any event, I drove it back. It was wonderful. My question, Chris, is I was mildly thinking of doing a stage 1 The car's got 135,000 miles, no issues. Oil's regularly changed, Mobil 1, synthetic, I believe. Do you see any downsides or risk to a car this old in the engine to possibly do a stage 1? Do you have any experience with that?
What is a stage 1? What is a stage 1? I'm ignorant. What's a stage 1?
Chris, you probably better answer.
Well, it depends on it depends on where you're getting it from, but because different companies have different ideas of what a stage 1 is. But usually a stage 1 is fairly mild.
Right.
So I wouldn't have any problem with that.
So you've probably seen cars that have stage 1.
I've got a 2009 that's got 135 on it, and I did it to mine.
Okay, and a stage 1 is just from a layman's perspective is I guess it recalibrates and tunes the computer module, right? In terms of, so it gives you a little bit more boost. Is that
a little more pop?
Right, a little more power, yeah.
Okay.
And
no downside to the transmission or to the engine. It just changes the configuration, right? When it shifts gears,
probably,
more or less.
You probably do already, but you probably want to make sure you use premium gas.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so then I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, good. Yeah, so thank you. And I'll listen to the other.
Hey, Chris, what are the different stages beyond a stage 1?
What's that?
What are the different stages beyond? I hear, I actually have never done any tuning on any of my Saabs. What are there stages past the stage? What are the stages?
Yeah,
past the stage 1?
There's a bunch. It depends on the company you're dealing with or who's doing the tuning. But stage 1 is usually you usually don't have to change anything to do a stage 1. It just bumps it up. I don't know, maybe 15, 20 horsepower, if that. When you start getting into the other ones, you have to, they want you to have a cold air intake and, maybe a better exhaust, free-flowing exhaust. And then after that, it's bigger injectors, different turbo, bigger intercooler, all the way up to, stage 3, which I think you have to change pistons and stuff for the car to handle it. That's basically what the differences are.
I did find that my 9.5, when I put a stage 1 in there, did sweat oil much more frequently. So that is a potential downside.
Yeah.
Well, you mean that you lost? You lost oil, so you had to add oil more frequently.
Yeah. Now the 35F, I think, which is in my vehicle, they tend to seep at certain gaskets. And I did notice that oil consumption increased, not through the cylinders, but through the gaskets, because and maybe having a stage 1 encourages people to drive a little bit harder too.
Makes sense.
The engine's a bit more responsive, and also in my particular vehicle, it allowed me to have overboost in highway conditions. Once you're over a certain speed and you're in 4th gear, I think it is, 3rd or 4th gear. You could see on the turbo gauge as well that you were given like up to 15 seconds of boost. So these are some of the things that maybe contributed to the engine running hotter and sweating more.
Is that a concern, Chris? Is the engine at risk, or like what's your take on performance updates in general? Any comment in general, or on this specific situation?
It really depends on the company. I mean, there was the company that was doing it for Saab, and they were pretty conservative. I've seen some tuners that really crank it up, and then you are in danger of doing damage to the engine. So like I said, it really depends on where you're getting this from. Like Hearst used to do it for Saab. I don't know if you can still get that or not. I'm not sure. And they were a little more on the conservative side. And actually, you could get that from the dealer, and you would still have the warranty. So it all depends on who's doing the tuning and where you're getting it from.
Yeah, a couple other concerns with mine would be it failed the e-test in Ontario because it didn't recognize the system. So I had to swap the ECU back to the factory one.
Don't worry.
I kept the factory ECU. And what was the other situation? Yeah, failed e-test, and I talked about the oil already. I think that was it.
Okay, we're taking other questions.
Someone else have a question?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Please.
Okay. I've been with you guys for almost 20 years. I'm thinking. I've owned everything, SPGs,
Wow.
the old frames.
What was your favorite? You have any favorites? Just out of curiosity, what did you like? What do you miss?
Convertible.
So before we go, can you tell me who's asking the question and where you're from?
Please, thank you.
Salisbury, North Carolina.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm originally started with Saabs at West Palm Beach, and I actually paid, I believe, my dues for 2 years when I didn't have Saabs. I just wanted to keep your website up because I knew eventually I'd go back to them because I just love the car. So the 91 SE convertible gray was the funnest car I had, hands down. What I have now is I have a 91 900S 5-speed. I bought it from the second owner. It has less than 100,000 miles. It's an immaculate car, but it has two issues. Number one, the APC light is on, and then the second is the airbag light is on. Dealing with the APC, if I don't do anything to that, I obviously still have brakes, still working fine. Is there a way for me to disable the APC system? 900S.
Well, I mean, basically, when the light's on, the ABS is not working. So it's pretty much disabled. It should be.
All right, so what I've done is remove the bulb.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
you can do that.
That's the solution right now. All right, so there's not a way to just turn it off.
Well, I mean, you know, basically the computer shuts itself off when it loses, you know, like a wheel speed sensor or one of the other sensors.
Correct.
Because it doesn't know what's going on, it just disables the ABS anyway. I mean, if you wanted to, you could probably go under the back seat and disconnect the, you know, the control unit.
Okay.
But
all right, I've got a climber. I have to look. There's a company that makes Saab maintenance manuals for my series of Saabs. The big, thick red book. I don't have it in front of me, so all right, I'll find it and disconnect it.
Yeah,
right,
it's on the passenger side, under the back seat. There's one.
Okay.
There's usually one for the if it has an amplifier, and then there's one for the ABS unit.
Okay. So the second question is the airbag light comes on intermittently. I don't really care about the airbag. The car, you know, might see 100 miles in 3 months, if that. It sits in the garage. So is there a way for me to disconnect that airbag?
You know, you can, I guess probably the easiest thing to do would be just disconnect the airbag at the steering wheel. The thing to do is to disconnect the battery and wait 20 minutes, and then take the two T30 screws out of the what holds the airbag onto the steering, and just
I've
unplug
replaced
it.
one before.
Yeah.
All right.
That would
so
probably be.
Just
I mean,
remove the airbag, remove the clip. It just clips in, and that's it.
Yeah, just disconnect it. Then you don't have to worry about it going off. Although, yeah, I mean, with the airbag light on, it usually doesn't mean it will go off. It just means that it may not go off if you're in an accident, if the light's on.
Yeah, and we're back to the low mileage. North Carolina has just changed their antique laws. Now, after 30 years, you can get an antique tag and not have to go through the inspections each year.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't care if the warning lights go on.
Sure.
So, yeah. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Chris, I have a couple email. I have one email question one question that was emailed in by a member. Can I just get that one?
Sure.
All right. So David Crozier has emailed in, and his question is about. He says all of his Saabs whistle, and he's tried door seals without success. He's wondering if it could be the window channel whistling, the window channel.
It could be. I mean, sometimes I know on the, I don't know what car we're talking about, but I know on the older 900s, the window channel in the back used to slide down quite often on the back of the window. I don't know if that's what it is or not.
Right. Thank you.
Hi, this is Mary.
Hello, Mary. Great hearing from you.
Thanks, and thank you, Scott Paterson, for hosting this. This is wonderful.
Hey, Mary, where are you located?
I'm in Globe, Arizona, which is just about 2 hours east of Phoenix.
Oh, great!
Wonderful.
Yes, thanks. And I'm not a mechanic. I'm not going to pretend to be one here, so forgive these generic questions. But
no, it's good.
Okay. I have a 99 Saab 9.3. I've had it for about a year now. It's a turbo. I love this car. It's been a dream come true. And it has a convertible top that leaks like a sieve when it rains. I have put some waterproofer on, but it still leaks. And it doesn't, that whole mechanism doesn't work to raise and lower the convertible top. It does if you go real slow and you have two people to kind of nudge it through the motion. But I'm wondering, how much would a general cost be for fixing that, and can it be fixed?
Well, it depends on what it is. It could be just low on fluid. But you'd have to probably take it to some place where they could, it's behind the back seat. There's a pump underneath, but you have to take out quite a few bolts to get to it. You can actually look with a flashlight. There's through the trunk.
Okay.
There's a, on the driver's side, up right behind the back seat on the bottom, there's a couple holes there. And you can shine a flashlight in there, and you can see it's a white plastic reservoir.
Okay.
And you can kind of shake the car back and forth and see if there's any fluid moving around in there. It should be close to the top. If it's not, it's probably low on fluid. That's the cylinders leak on those sometimes. Sometimes the pipes they use, they're like plastic pipes that run the fluid to all the different pistons. Sometimes they blow out, and you have to replace those or replace the one that's broken. What was the other question?
So I think my son did try to put fluid in, and I don't think that worked. So a general cost on fixing that, what would be a good ballpark if I could find somebody to do that?
It's hard to say. I mean, it could be, there's little micro switches in there that sometimes go bad.
Okay.
Or, I mean, if the fluid is just going right out again, then you probably obviously got a leak someplace. Or possibly the pump's worn out. I don't know. I mean, you should be able to probably pick up something used if it needs a pump or something, because they don't go bad all that often.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. And
it's hard to say without actually seeing the car.
Okay. And also, there's a constant warning message about check soft top on that console display. I don't know if
Yeah.
I
mean, that's going to pretty much happen. Like if the latches aren't, if it's not latched in the front, or if it doesn't think it's latched in the front, or any other problem can turn that on. If the top doesn't move fast enough, it'll turn the fault light on. So it's hard to say. I mean, it's pretty much just about anything that can go wrong with the top will turn that light on.
Okay. And the console display in general has gaps, like it's missing lights in part of that display. Is there any way to fix that at all? Or just find another one?
Is this, Chris, is this pixels in the SID, right?
Yes.
Oh, this
Yeah.
So, you can they can be repaired. I think if you go online, you can actually find kits to do it, or you can send it out.
There's a guy on Saab. I don't know if he's advertising right now, but he's been a long time advertiser in the parts classified for fixing those, or you send in yours and he'll send you back. So he'll fix it or send you a refurbished one. It's Wazzle. And you can find him. You can always find him. His website is saabradio.com.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right.
I have one other, Mary.
Yes.
One other resource for you. Okay, Goldwing. Chris has dealt with them for years. Scott knows them really well. They're fabulous. Any parts I've got, they specialize in used Saab parts, and sometimes really hard to get used Saab parts. Josh, the manager over there, is fabulous. He could ship to you. And the other thing I want to mention, since we're on the topic of going to people, a good chunk of Saabs have been ruined by mechanics who either use the wrong, they just don't understand Saab. So I would say go to SaabNet and say, I don't know someone off the cuff. You've stumped me in Arizona. I know people throughout all the country. I just don't know anybody in Arizona. So I would look on SaabNet and see who's a mechanic in Arizona and chat with them. Because I wish I had a Chris to refer to you in Arizona. I don't. But I would, and also talk to Goldwing. They have all the parts over there used, like, 40% off or whatever. Very good pricing. Very good people.
Are you saying Gold Link or Gold Net?
Goldwing. I think it's Gold. Am I correct, Chris? Goldwing?
Yeah. Goldwing. Yeah.
So that's
Goldwing.
With a W. It's a W like wing and a bird.
Oh, Gold Wing. Okay.
Yes, Goldwing. And Josh is the manager. You can tell him I referred you. We're going to feature him next month. And I'm going to be sharing we're going to have people on from Arizona. I want to feature more people that I can refer to, because I think that's so much a part of it. Chris's experience is amazing, because a lot of times people don't know what to do, or they spend a lot of money on Saabs because they go to people that replace something, but they don't know the nuances, maybe a part or a smaller part or much less expensive part. Dave Connor was another amazing person. He just retired in Armenia. He had about 40 cars on the lot. He was just, people would go to see him literally throughout the whole East Coast. So find someone who knows the car. Like, don't ever just go to someone. Find someone like Chris, who's been practicing, 30 years.
Yes, I hear you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Mary.
All right, appreciate you guys hosting this, and I'll yield the floor.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. I guess we'll go to the impeachment next week together. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Another question. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yes. Hi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so on the SaabNet website, when you go there, it's going to list of Saab service, and just click Arizona. There's two companies there, IMM Automotive and Valet Auto Service. One in
that's
Tempe,
correct.
the other in Tucson.
Yeah, as he's mentioning, if you go to the Saab Network to the frequently asked questions, there's a section for service and mechanics, and under the Arizona listings, as he notes, there are two. There's one in Tempe called IMM Automotive. I know they're very good. I've seen a lot of great feedback about them, and then Valet Auto Service in Tucson. All their details are listed on the page there.
Oh, thank you. What a resource. Appreciate that.
Yeah, if you happen to be on the bulletin boards on the Saab Network, at the top there are a whole bunch of links to different areas of the site, and there's also a link there to the service.
Thanks again, guys.
Who's at the 773 area code? Can you? Oh, hey, sorry, I have to unmute you. Sorry about that. 773.
Yeah, that's
Chicago.
Yes, I
Chicago,
can hear
welcome.
you now. Who is it?
It's Marty in Chicago.
Welcome,
Marty.
Marty.
Chicago. Yeah, go ahead, Marty.
Go ahead,
So
Marty.
I have a 2011 9.4 turbo premium, and with a navigation system, which has an old mapping system in it. Is it possible to buy an updated disc? And if so, how do you do that?
What's in your tone?
Hello?
Did you hear that one?
Chris, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
cool.
did. Sorry, my phone went out for a second there.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I know that some of them are the same as the Cadillac SRX. I think if you Google it, you might be able to find something on there about somebody who's done something like that. I don't know for sure, to tell you the truth.
Okay, because it was a GM system at the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a GM system for sure, but I know I have seen stuff on there about people asking me about 9.5s and stuff, and I have seen people say that you can use some of the GM stuff if you order the right one, but I don't offhand. I don't know which one it would be.
Yeah. Okay. And you think that's just the best way to do that is to find it on Google?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I just want to give out, let's give out, Chris, let's give out your contact, because people want to be in touch with you. I know people have traveled a long way to see you. So Master Chris Rizzon and Rizzon Saab, please give out your contact information, Saab, Chris. I called you Saab.
Well,
it was a big mistake.
All right. So
yeah, thank you.
It's my address is 5055 Route 30, Dorset, Vermont. 05251, phone number 802-325-3827.
One more time, Chris. One more time with the number.
802
Thank you.
325 3827.
Yeah, Chris is in
By the way,
Chris is in the Saab Net service and mechanics listing. His website is also RizzonSaabRepair.com. That's RIZZON SaabRepair.com.
Yep.
I want to mention I got some upcoming reviews. We're going to be reviewing stainless steel mufflers. I got a tire review today. I send the products to Chris. He puts them in. We check them out, and I'll give you what I hear about products and parts, things that I think could be valuable in the longevity and peak performance of the car. I love the questions. The questions are really good, Scott.
Yeah. We have another question?
Yeah, this is Roger from Rockford, Illinois.
Hi, Roger.
I have a
Welcome.
question. I've had several Saabs. I started with an 01 95 Aero. I had an 07 95 Aero. Still have that car. It's got 221,000 miles on it, and I have a 2011 95 with the V6 all-wheel drive. My question is on the 911. The 2011 95. I had it for about a year, and it ran perfectly fine. And then the engine light came on, and I don't recall the code, and my code reader is not working right now. But it had to do with the camshaft position sensor, and so I had bought the code reader, and then I would reset the code, and the car would run perfectly fine again. And so I just kind of kept that sensor plugged, or the reader plugged in, and I would just keep resetting it until I was trying to figure out what the problem was. And when the light would come on and it would read the camshaft position sensor failure or whatever exactly it said, I would have about 75% power. And when I would reset it, it would reset back to full power. And the light would go off, and a car would run at full power, 300 horsepower, and then it would go off, a week later. And then it started doing it just on a regular basis. I'd reset it twice on the way to work. And so then I just stopped doing it. But even when the light's on now, and this has been about 3 years now, but when the light is on, sometimes it'll run at full power and sometimes it won't. Obviously it's still related to this camshaft position problem. I did have somebody go in and replace I think there's a sensor on the outside of the motor block. They replaced that to see if that might do it. That costs about $2,000. But to go into the engine and replace the sensor in the valve assembly, he said it'd be about $4,000, which I've hesitated to do. So I'm wondering, is there a bypass to the engine light to where it would ignore it and then maybe run at full power all the time? It also prevents my my remote start from working whenever the engine light's on. The remote start won't work. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know of any way of making it work. To ignore the engine light. One of the problems with those cars is the timing chain stretch, and that'll make it do what it's doing. I don't know if that's it or not. I mean, it could be what the solenoids that let the oil pressure go into the cam gears, which changes the timing. Sometimes they fail. Probably not the sensors, because they're probably working, and that's why it's turning the light on.
Okay. Right.
If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably your timing chains.
And what can you expect to replace that or have that done cost-wise?
I'm not sure exactly. It's going to be it's quite a bit of labor. You don't have to remove the engine, but you do have to remove a lot of stuff to get the timing chains out. I would guess probably, $1,500 probably, or something like that, or it depends on the labor rate too.
Right.
I was curious about, Chris, the prices that were given. You were given $2,000 and $4,000. What were those for?
Well, one, and this is a Saab guy in Chicago that worked on exotic cars, and I was referred to him by a Saab dealer out of Iowa. But they had to pull a lot of stuff out to get to the sensor on the outside of the block, which it just didn't seem right to me. But I was hoping to fix that, and that was 3 years ago when the car was fairly new to me anyway.
Right.
Was it David at K&G on Ogden?
What's that?
Was it David at K&G Auto on Ogden, out in the suburbs?
Ooh, it was a while ago, so I don't recall, but it was right downtown. They had literally a lot of exotic cars in the shop there, like Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
I had a question based on your question, which is a good question. So, Chris, on those parts that is it Robert?
Roger.
I'm sorry, Roger. On those parts that Roger was quoted, Chris, does it make sense to you? What does it make sense to you to use a used part with a place like Goldwing? And when does it make sense getting a new part? Like in Roger's situation, any specific advice about replacements, which seem pretty expensive, versus like a used part?
Well, I mean, depends on what you're talking about. I mean, something like, if you were talking timing chains or something like that, you wouldn't want to get used on that, because chances, there's a good chance you end up with the same thing you got, or probably thereafter. Anything with, like a wear part, you probably don't want to put in used. But stuff like lights or, trim, certain parts I don't see that many problems with, like if you needed a power steering pump or something, you could probably, that would work. I put in used engines quite often. For the money, you can't really beat the used ones, and they do usually give you a warranty with them too, so it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and everything that I was quoted was mostly labor. I mean, the actual sensors were minimal.
Yeah.
You know, all Chicago labor, which can be crazy. So.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I do have a good mechanic here where I live that I think would do it, give me a really good price on the timing chain. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even think of that being part of the issue. So that definitely helps.
That's great. That's great.
Roger, was that engine used in another vehicle? I don't recall the answer to that.
I believe it was a Cadillac engine over in Europe.
Okay.
I forget the model, but in my research, they used that in Cadillac in Europe in the 2011 whatever model that Cadillac engine was in.
Yeah, they used it. They used a version of it even in the Camaro uses a very similar version of that engine, but it's a different size. So I think it's a 3.6. They use it, different versions of it in a lot of different cars. They're not all exactly the same, but I hear that they have the same problem with time and change too.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, it's been a
Sean?
great car, even with the engine light on for 3 years. It still runs. Most people would never know it's got a problem, but obviously I do.
Hey, Sean, Corey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, yeah.
Yes.
I know you're waiting to ask a question. Why don't you go ahead?
No, it's great
Go ahead,
hearing
Sean.
everybody talk and answer questions. And so I've had 4 Saabs, 2 94-900 classic turbo convertibles and 2 pre-2000 9000s. I had a 95 Aero and a 98 9000 CSE with only 99,000 miles on it still. So really excited to be on the call. I have a quick and easy question for Chris. So my key fob, the remote that opens and closes the doors, that unlocks and locks and then pops the trunk, it hasn't worked since I had the car. And my guy here in Chicago tells me there's an actuator on the driver's side door that if I replace it, I can get all 4 of the locks to be unified and in sync. And it's fun hearing you guys talk about, Gold Wing and spare parts and stuff like that. My question is, the actuator, obviously the interior door panels would have to come off to replace that. Just on a scale of 1 to 10, like what's the level of effort involved with repairing that part and getting the remote working again?
So the remote doesn't work on the door or the trunk?
Correct. And all my research and conversations all point back to that part that's inside the driver's door. And the pain of it now is that when I get out of the car and like I'm in a busy shopping center, I have to go around and manually lock both front doors and then open the rear doors and pull up and down manually on the lock. And it's a total pain in the butt.
Yeah. I don't really know. There's an actuator in the driver's door, but I think it's just for the driver's door.
Yeah, what's weird, just more information, is when I put the key in the driver's door and I lock it, about 50% of the time, it will lock the other 3 doors for me.
Okay,
but
yeah.
50% of the time it doesn't, and I have to do the manual, Chinese fire drill around the car to lock it all. And it's difficult because if I go to the airport for work travel and the car doesn't lock, I'm screwed because I just have to leave the car completely unlocked or, some of the doors unlocked or whatever. So I'm just trying to figure out the Gold Wing. I feel like I could get the parts on Gold Wing, but I'm trying to figure out, do I have to take the interior panels off with the foam and the gaskets? And it's just stuff that I don't know if I could pull off or not.
Do you have another key?
I just have the one key, believe it or not, and just the one remote.
You don't have another key. I was going to say, because it could possibly. I guess it could possibly even be a problem with the key.
Yeah.
So this is Doug in Salisbury. I would adjust the actuator in the driver door. And it's just a rod, and you loosen and tighten the actuator, and just move the actuator up like half an inch, and then when you hit the button, it makes sure that that lock goes all the way down, and then that sensor that's telling those other doors to lock, will now lock them.
Do I have to take the door panel, the interior door panel with the molding and the trim and all the buttons off to get to that actuator? Yeah. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos on it, and it doesn't look easy. It looks like I could get myself into a lot of trouble. So,
I'm an older Saab guy, so I had no problem. I install third-party alarms in my car.
Yeah.
So I had to take all that out to get that third-party alarm system in. And it wasn't that hard. I don't know. What year is your Saab?
It's a 98. It's a 98 9000 CSE with only 99,000 miles on it. It's a great car.
Yeah,
it's a 5-speed.
Yeah, convertible?
No, five-speed sedan. So it's a 9000 CSE.
All right. So I had a 900. I think mine was a 97. I thought I pulled that driver's side panel out, and I didn't run into that much difficulty.
I'll check it out.
I would recommend going to the auto parts store and get the little different tools that allow you to remove that interior without scratching it.
Right.
Just plastic, like spatulas.
Yeah, like trim tools. There's a good set of
it
trim tools on Amazon, and some places have a good set of like trim tools and everything. So I can't remember if it was Glenn. I think it was Glenn who at the beginning of the call said, if anybody knows of a classic 9000 model that, 5-speed. So Glenn, DM me on Twitter or email me, okay?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact,
she's yours.
Well, it's gonna. I'm loving my 2004 95 5-speed, and I actually had them in condition. I become so really good friends with people on SaabNet. As a matter of fact, the guy that went to Chris in New York for his I had a blown head gasket. He told me he had a great vacation, and Chris did better work and more expensive. So I love, my inspiration is to find a one-of-a-kind maroon red 5-speed 9000 in mint shape. That's my crazy idea for the new year, and bringing it to Chris for fine-tuning. But thank you. What color is it?
Oh, it's black. It's black.
Okay.
And she's got brand new Bridgestone tires on her. And I'll have to put some pictures up on SaabNet for you guys.
I'd love that. I would love that.
For the picture contest for 2020.
All right.
Anyway,
I would love that.
You guys have been great. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. And we'll talk soon.
I'm just going to do a quick tire. Scott, because I'm going to do a quick tire review. I've just been reviewing with 2.5 feet on.
After that,
we gotta go?
Get to Gary. To Gary Heyer.
Okay.
I have a question. He's waiting. And
beautiful. Thank you.
So go right ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we have 2.5 feet of snow here, and I'm in the Berkshires in Massachusetts. It's been ice raining. I've been reviewing the last 2 weeks. Chris just put them on. North Country from Cooper tires. North Country. Now I reviewed all the tires. I've had Mario Andretti on my show. I've reviewed the Blizzak, and I'll tell you something. This new tire, I don't know how new it is actually, but it's out of this world. It's almost like fine-tuning of yet figure skates. It holds me to the ground. I've gone up those icy roads. I couldn't even say I slipped. They're incredible. The North Country Cooper, I haven't endorsed a tire where regularly, but I love the North Country. I recommend, particularly if you're in icy and snowy areas. Oh, Consumer Reports said this, that it's more relevant to have 4 snow tires than even having four-wheel drive. So that was interesting to me, because I was thinking, well, maybe the people who have the best control are the four-wheel people. But no, having your Saab with these tires, I'll tell you, the Cooper North Country has just been amazing, and it's like fine-tuning your ice skates. They're amazing. I 360 twice in my SPG. and I walked away both times. So I kind of thought that was a lesson I had to pay attention to. That was about 14 years ago. So I've been reviewing all kinds of tires. I'm very impressed with the Coopers. And let's go with the next question. Thank you, guys.
Gary, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Oh, good. Hi.
Where are you?
I'm in Pelham, New York.
Where are you?
In Pelham, New York.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Not that far. Not that far from Chris, you know. How far are you from Pelham, Chris? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Chris is up in Vermont. Okay.
He's in Dorset, he's right by Manchester, Vermont, the home of the closeout stores. I think Pelham is in. Are you in Westchester County or no? What county are you in? Westchester
County. Yes.
Oh yeah, Westchester. You're about 3 hours. You're about three and a half hours away.
Yeah, 3.5, 4 hours away.
Yeah.
Actually,
great
I
hearing
also have
from
a
you.
house up in Orange, Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, I'm 45 minutes from there.
Yeah.
I'm in Amherst.
You're in Amherst. Okay, yeah.
I'm in Amherst, Massachusetts, right by the university, right by the college.
So I'm a hop, skip, and a jump. It's 30 minutes away.
You are. Build a Saab community there in between shows.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so as far as programming goes for new components on the car, outside, say, like, I know you have to program in a new steering positioning sensor switch, but what other items have to be programmed in? And which ones are like plug and play?
What model?
It's a 2004 9.3 Saab linear.
Okay, so
say like a neutral safety switch on the automatic transmission. Does that have to be programmed?
no, I don't believe so on that car.
And what about the control module for?
The control module would have to be programmed.
For the transmission control module? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any other components that?
Well, I mean, the SIM, any of the door modules, although a lot of times the door modules will work. You don't program them. The entertainment head unit.
So that, if you wanted to change out a radio, you would have to program that in also with the tech, right?
Yeah. CD players. A lot of stuff will work even if you don't program it in, but some stuff won't work. Like you can't put a SIM in the car or keys or anything like that without programming them. Like the engine control module, that would have to be programmed.
Computer also, the main ECU on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I just want to interrupt for a second with since we brought up Tech 2 has been brought up. I just want to mention that on SaabNet, if you go to buddy.saabnet.com, you'll get to the Saab Buddy registry, which does a couple of things. One, it does three things primarily. One is if you're willing to help out other local Saabers, you can register yourself. Also, if people are traveling through your area and they maybe have a problem with their Saab, you're available to help with that. But it also lists Saabers around the country that have Tech 2s that are willing to help out with, share their Tech 2. And then it also, and then the last thing it does is people who are looking at Saabs for sale that are not local to them, these people in the Saab Buddy registry are willing to go look at local Saabs. So I only mention it because there are a lot of Saabers listed there with Tech 2s available for use with people in their local area. Sorry,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I've already signed up
That's
for
already
the Buddy system, yeah.
Great, thanks.
Wonderful,
Actually, right now,
wonderful service.
Yeah, well, right now I have my 9.3, the 2004. I'm doing a total strip down of the car and rebuilding it completely. And that's complete engine out, transmission, the whole 9 yards.
Why?
And all those, there's suspension also too. In fact, I took the body down, the bare body, and all the interior out, and it's turning into be quite an involved project. Let's say it.
Wow.
So, but anyway, so I was curious about one other question I had also on the exhaust system too. I was looking at, has anybody ever played around with replacing well, you have your main muffler, then you have your resonator on the tail end, right? Or the resonator first and then the muffler on the tail end. Has anybody played around with modifying the muffler itself or the resonator itself, you know, not the tail end, but the middle section, to try to put something in there that's a little more free flow?
I've seen cars that have been to muffler shops without anything. There's the first pipe.
So if I took out that muffler completely, not the end muffler, but I guess you would
yeah, the resonator in the center. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a little louder, but
if you took that out and did a straight pipe through it, how would that affect the turbo? Or would it have an effect on the turbo, do you think?
Yeah, it's hard. You know, it's hard to say. I mean, I've seen studies where they say that sometimes depending on what kind of muffler you have on there, that at certain RPMs, it can actually flow better with a muffler than it will with a straight pipe.
That's what I heard that also. That's why I was able to
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think people just did it because they didn't want to pay for a resonator.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to hurt the car any. I couldn't really say I felt any difference in performance. It was a little louder.
Okay. And let me ask you, do you do an upgrade on the programming for stage 1 and 2 and 3 for the cars?
Yeah, I don't do it, but I mean, people who do it.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed? After cars have been done, like at least at stage 1, have you noticed a good improvement, or?
Yeah, I mean, most of the cars that I deal with are usually stage 1, and yeah, you could definitely can feel it for sure. Yeah.
Okay, things to look into then. Okay, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Are you there?
Thank you.
Jim, Mike?
Yeah.
Mike?
Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, go ahead. Did you have a question?
Well, on the previous gentleman, yeah, you definitely feel a difference with the stage 1 ECU upgrade. Now my question is this. I did do the stage 1 ECU upgrade on my 2008 9.5, and I had my mechanic put on a new exhaust. It's a 3-inch pipe down from the turbo with 2.5 the rest of the way back. I'm trying to figure out if there's, I'm sure there's some sort of a horsepower gain between those two things. I'm just trying to figure out how to calculate what it could possibly have added.
Is there a question there?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how many horsepower the stage 1 ECU upgrade and the exhaust system may have gained me on my 2008 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, without a dyno, there is a way you can do it on a drag strip if you can figure out the weight of the car and approximately what your horsepower is. There is actually a formula for that, but I don't know. It's kind of a lot of trouble to go through to find out.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be somewhere between, anecdotally speaking, 5 to 10% stage 1. I think MapTune might show you what that could be, although the tunes are different, I would imagine, between programmers, but I don't think it would be more than about 25 horsepower, those two.
Okay.
If
all right.
Kind of reassures you a bit.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Listen, I want to thank everybody. We're going to have people on from all around the country, resources, reviews, along with Chris Rizzon up in Vermont, Dorset, Vermont, Scott Paterson. SaabNet is tremendous resources. That buddy program, it sounds so fabulous.
Hey, Chris,
we'll be with you next year.
Glenn, I have one more question that was emailed in. Can I throw this in here real quick?
Please, Scott. Yes.
I have a couple people that had some noisy connections, and I have them on mute. And I just want to make sure we didn't miss them. But
Yeah,
Warren
let's take care of that. Yes.
So Chris Warren Sherrata writes in. He has a 1993 9000 CSE. He's asking about his ACC unit. He says, for about the first 2 to 3 minutes of startup, the ACC unit looks like a flashing Christmas tree. Lights flash randomly, including the on, auto, and econ lights. The lights settle down and eventually work, and he's able to select all options. Any guesses to what is causing that and how to fix?
So this is, what was that again? What car?
So it's a 1993 9000 CSE.
CSE. And the lights, the ABS lights, he said, or the IPC?
ACC unit?
Yeah.
Lights, the lights on it randomly flash, including the on, auto, and econ lights.
Oh, the climate control. Okay.
Yeah, right, climate control.
Yeah. Okay. Geez, I don't know what the heck that would be. I mean, sounds like it might be a bad. It sounds like the unit might be bad itself. I don't know.
Yeah. So then he also says that.
Unless it's going calibration, but I don't remember the last one it does that.
Okay, maybe calibration. So he also says the AC used to run cool. It has slowly developed a problem where there is nothing cool about it. I read about adjusting the compressor contact air gap. The coolant, he says the coolant newer version Freon is good. Is this typical and can it be fixed?
So he's saying the AC doesn't work? Is that?
Yeah, ACC is not cold, and he's read about adjusting the compressor contact air gap.
Yeah, I mean, if the compressor's not coming on, I suppose that might work. It depends on why it's not coming on. There could be a lot of reasons. I mean, if the refrigerant it doesn't have enough pressure, or
I don't think he's saying the compressor's not coming on. I think he might mention that, but yeah, I don't know. I've never owned a 9000, so I'm not familiar with compressor contact air gap. Don't know.
Well, I thought I would assume he was talking about the air gap on the compressor, clutch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if the compressor is coming on, obviously that's not a problem.
Right. Okay.
If the compressor is not coming on, then I guess what I would do is check and make sure there's power going to the compressor clutch. If there's no power going there, it's not going to make a difference about the air gap.
Got it.
If there's power there but it's still not working, either you got a bad coil in the clutch, or possibly, I suppose, if the air gap's way off, that could cause it. Although I've not really seen that very much.
Right. And then I have Don Hess, who's on the chat, but it doesn't have audio or a microphone. He's asking. He says he's got a 2008 93 convertible. The mirror suddenly began acting erratically when trying to adjust. We'll have vertical movement, but no horizontal, or vice versa, or sometimes no response at all. He's replaced both mirror motors and switch. Same thing keeps happening. He's heard there may be a reset procedure similar to that as for the Windows. So he's trying to figure that out.
Well, I guess if it's possible, if it's got the memory mirrors, I don't know if it does or not, that adjusts when you adjust the seat, when you hit the seat memory. It's possible. I've seen those switches get water in them and then cause work or the mirrors to go by themselves, or sometimes the seat to go by itself. That's a possibility, I suppose. If you popped out the memory switch on a seat and unplugged it, that stopped the problem, then that would be what the problem is that would be that memory switch. The seat will still operate without that. It just won't have memory anymore.
So something similar to that for the window, for the mirror switch.
Yes, I mean that could, if it doesn't have memory, the mirrors don't have memory, that won't fix it.
Right.
And in which case,
you
I'd be
haven't heard
looking
of some
at
kind of you haven't heard of some kind of reset procedure. You know, I know there's
Not
like
for
my wife had this problem with her 9.3 windows, and I forget what it was. Like her window wouldn't stay up, and it was she did a
yeah, that's the anti-pinch. Yeah, that can be reset.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the mirrors are, you know, the only problem I've really seen with the mirrors is that memory. Problem with the memory, because the memory starts making the mirrors either, you know, go where they're not supposed to, or not work. Or, you know, if they're not memory, the next place I would probably look would be the switch itself.
Yeah, he says he's replaced the switch.
Oh, he said he replaced the switch. Okay, I thought he just replaced the motors.
He's replaced both motors and switch.
And the switch. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I have. So I just want to get to. I want to make sure I had some people unmuted because I was getting some noise. But I know there's Let's see if Susan has a question. I don't think she has a question. She would unmute. Bill, did you get? Are you there? Did you ask your question? Or you're set with questions?
You said Bill?
Bill?
Bill's good. Okay.
Yeah, this is Bill.
You have any questions?
Well, I got kind of a crazy one. I replaced the SID. Mary mentioned the SID. I replaced the SID that made me realize how terrible sticky the buttons are on the rest of everything. It's a 2001 9.5. Is there any way to clean those things?
I mean, yeah, you can clean it, but it takes the finish off. Basically, is what it does.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know of any other. I don't know of any fix for that.
Okay. Yeah, I had, as Mary needs to do there, she called about that. Just get it rebuilt one. I tried doing one myself and I screwed it up, so I ended up buying a used one. And it's beautiful, it's brand new. So that's what I recommend for her anyway.
And Chris, I have one more from Gary again. The question is there any reset procedure required for the throttle body after it is removed and cleaned? And again, this is a 2008 9.3 convertible.
No. You should be able just to put it back on again.
Okay, great. Let me let's see here. So
there is a
go ahead.
I was going to say there is a learned procedure you can do with a Tech 2, but I've never seen where it was necessary for like an idle relearn.
Right. Okay. All right, Glenn, we're back to you. I think that's all the questions.
Well, first of all, really good questions today. Really good. Hearing you guys means a lot. Hearing a community and an investment in this unconventional, wondrous car and community. So I'll continue to find people around the world, the country, parts. We'll feature them each month, and with your continued questions and feedback, we'll learn. We'll keep the car alive as long as we possibly can. Have a beautiful holiday. Happy New Year. We'll see you in the new year. I want to say, Scott, I just treasure what you're doing. SaabNet is the best. Chris Rizzon is on SaabNet. He's a mechanic, a Saab Master Mechanic in Dorset, Vermont, and it's a wonderful place to go. And if you want a master to help you with a car that is has incredible value, but sometimes people can't figure it out. The type of thing I have found in the Saab community, I had a 9000 that was in limp mode. 4 Saab mechanics told me to get rid of it. I drove it to I think it was Swedish Steel, somewhere in upstate New York. It was $60 and I drove away. This is before I met Chris. But one of the values is to go to these seasoned people who could help you with sometimes used parts. Great questions. Once again, Happy New Year. Thanks, Scott. And what a great community, huh?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all who joined in on the conversation. That's what made it what it was.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you from Illinois. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, have a good rest of the weekend.